So I thought for my last video for the year, I would show you some of the ways I have been looking at pentatonics lately. Because pentatonics, if you're just playing regular blues licks and pentatonic licks, it can get a bit boring. So first of all, I sort of came up with an idea, and then secondly, I bought a great book by a guy called Jerry Begonzi, which I'll reference later. So when looking at a pentatonic scale, you'll notice that on each string there's a low note and a high note. So if we just go through the regular pattern, okay, so on the bottom E string we've got a low note and a high note. On the A, a low note and a high note. On the D, a low note and a high note, etc., all the way through. So I was looking at that and I was thinking, well, what if you just changed how you played? So instead of just going up a scale, you just went up it, but not going up it step by step, so not going up. So what if you went up the scale, for example, low note, high note, low note, high note, low note, high note. It completely changes the sound of that scale. Likewise, you can go high note, low note, and it completely changes the way that scale sounds. So then looking at that, I thought, well, you could sweep pick that pattern because you're just playing one note per string. Okay, and then I thought, okay, well, what else could we do with that? So I'm just going to show you a few of the ideas that I've come up with using high and low notes, and then I'll take you through some of the stuff from the Jerry Begonzi book. So what I've sort of developed is a little 4-string sweep. And you can do it in reverse. You can start on the high note, etc. So we're going to start off, by the way, in this video lesson we're just going to play this regular pattern, but you can obviously use this with all of the shapes, and in fact you should practice it on the shapes because it will give you some completely different sounds. So what we're going to do, we're going to start off here on the bottom string, and we're going to play 5 and then 7 on the A, and we're going to do this with one pick. Okay, so 5, 7, then onto the D string, fret 5, and then fret 7 on the G. Okay, that's the first part of the pattern. Then we're going to play on the A string, fret 5, 7 of the D, 5 of the G, and 8 of the B. And then we're going to put those two together. And what you'll notice with my right hand is literally one downward pick, okay, on each of these groups of 4 notes. And then we're going to finish that pattern with 5 of the D, 7 of the G, 5 of the B, and 8 of the high E. So we've got 3 shapes, or 3 lots of 4 notes. So we're going to go low, high, and I mean low on the A, high on the, no, low on the E, high on the A, low on the D, high on the G. So we're going low, high, and then repeat that pattern across those strings. Then coming back, we're doing the opposite, so we're going to use an up stroke. So we're going to play high, low, and then the same. now, and let me go through that one more time actually. So we're playing high on the E, low on the B, high on the G, low on the D. Then when we change, we're playing high on the B, low on the G, high on the D, low on the A, and then high on the G, low on the D, high on the A, low on the E. And then you can put those two patterns together. So that's when we're starting on the low note of the string. You can do the same starting on the high note. So instead of going low, high, you can play high, low, high, low. And it gives you a very different sound. So again, what we do here, we're playing 8 on the E, 5 of the A, 7 on the D, 5 on the G. Then we got 7 on the A, 5 of the D, 7 of the G, 5 of the B. Then 7 on the D, 5 on the G, 8 on the B, and 5 on the high E string. Okay, so then coming back, we're going to play low, high, low, high. So that would be 5 on the E, 8 on the B, 5 on the G, 7 on the D. Then 5 on the B, 7 of the G, 5 of the D, 7 of the A, and then 5 on the G, 7 of the D, 5 of the A, 8 of the high E, low E. Okay, so that's an example of a 4-note sweep repeated through that scale. Obviously you don't have to stick to 4s, as I said earlier, you can play 6. You can play 5s, you can do whatever. And here's another little one that I've come up with, which is a 3-note sweep. And what we're doing here, we're playing low, high, low. And then because we're playing 3 notes at a time, it reverses and it goes high, low, high. Low, high, low. High, low, high. Now the picking is slightly different here, because as I pick the next starting note of the 3-note pattern, I use an upstroke. So down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down. And you'll also notice that the first note in each of these groups of 3 is the same note as the second note in the previous group of 3. So I'll show you what I mean. So here I'm playing 5 on the bottom string, 7 of the A, 5 of the D. Then the first note in the next one, or the next group of 3, is 7 on the A, 5 of the D, 7 of the G. Now this actually makes it quite easy to play, because you don't need to move your fingers very much in between groupings of notes, because we've got that. And then we're just going to play the same note we just played. Okay, and then you do the same on the way back. So high, low, high, high, low, sorry, low, high, low, high, low, high, low, high, low. And likewise you can play high, low, high. Okay, which again gives it a slightly different sound. So that would be 8, 5, 7, 7, 5, 7. No, sorry, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8, 5. So that was an example of some of the sweeping techniques you can use. Here is a string skipping exercise, which again uses lows and highs, looking at the notes as individuals. So what we're doing here, we're playing a low note on the bottom E string, then we're skipping the A string and coming up to the high on the D. And then we're coming back down to the A string, so then it comes down, what's the word? Sequentially, that's what I'm looking for. Right. So when we come back down a string, we then skip the next string. So let me show you that again slowly. So it's actually a 3-note pattern, because the first note then skips, then we come down 1, and that's the 3. Then we've got the next sequential note in the scale, and then we're going to skip again. Okay, so let's look at that first 3 notes, second 3 notes, third 3 notes, fourth 3 notes. So I'll show you that pattern slowly. So we're going to do 5 on the bottom string, 7 to 5 on the D string, 7 on the A string, 5 on the G, down to 7 and then 5 of the D, 8 on the B string, down to 5 of the B string, 7 of the G, 5 of the high E, and then 8 and 5 on the B string. So slowly. Now picking wise, experiment with this one, because you might find it easier to alternate pick, or you may find it easier to play each string skip with a down pick. I mean, I've tried both and they both seem to work pretty well. Then do the same on the way back. So 5 on the high E, then we're going to play 7 on the G, 5, 8 on the B, skip a string, 5, 7 on the D, 5 of the G, skip a string, down to 7 of the A string, 5, 7 on the D, and then 5 of the low E string. Okay, and again you can do it the other way around. Okay, so have an experiment with that as well. And again, don't just use it on the position 1, try it on the other positions as well. So now I'll take you through some of the ideas that I found really good from this book, which is Inside Improvisation Series, Pentatonics by Jerry Bergonzi. So he talks about a concept called skipping and stepping, and I'll show you what I mean. So in a minor pentatonic in A, if we go from one note sequentially to the next, that is just a step. If we play one note, miss a note to the next one, that would be a skip. So for example, we're skipping that note and we're going straight to that note. Okay, so that is a skip. So an example of a skip step sequence would be this. Okay. So we are starting here on the A and we're coming down, which is a step. Then we're skipping a note upwards because we're missing out this note. Then we're going to step back and then we're going to skip down. So step down, skip up, step down, skip down. And that would be the whole pattern there. So I'll show you that pattern. You get the idea. Now, I'm not going to show you all of them because it would take me a long time to show you them, but just want to show you this concept. So we're going to step, skip, step, skip. And as you notice, that's 5 notes. The reason that is, the first note is just a note. It's not a step or a skip. So the step and the skip doesn't come until you hit the next note. Right, so here's the pattern. 5 on the high E, down to 8 of the B, 8 of the high E, down to 5 of the high E. Then the next pattern is 5 of the B, down to 7 of the G, 8 of the B, down to 5 of the B. So put those two together. Then we've got 5 of the G, 7 of the A, 7 of the D, which is an A note. So 5 of the G, 7 of the D, 7 of the G, 5 of the G. Then we've got 5 of the D, 7 of the A, 7 of the D, 5 of the D, 5 of the A, 8 of the low E string, 7 of the A to 5 of the A, and then finish on the 5 of the bottom string. Okay, so that sequence is step down, skip up, step down, skip down. And that pattern goes all the way through. So step, skip, step, skip, step, skip, step, skip. Okay, now we're going to look at the inverse of that. So if you were to do so we're doing a step up, skip down, step up, skip up. So this was a step down, skip up, step down, skip down. This is the opposite. Okay, so we're going to start with little finger on 8 of the bottom string, and then we're going to play 5 of the A, 5 of the bottom string to 8 of the bottom string. Then we're going to come to 7 of the A to 5 of the D, 5 of the A to 7 of the A, 7 of the D to 5 of the G, 5 of the D to 7 of the D, 7 of the G to 5 of the E, no, 5 of the B, which is an E note, 5 of the G to 7 of the G, then 8 of the B to 5 of the high E, then 5 of the B to 8 of the B, and then finish here on the 8 of the high E string. So slowly. So if you put those two patterns together slowly. And that is the skip and skip approach to playing the pentatonics. So obviously you can create your own patterns. Okay, so there we would have a skip, step, skip. Which is also one of his. But there's loads of ways of creating your own patterns. So what I would say is learn the kind of concept of skipping and stepping, and then try and apply it to some of your phrasing.